problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the bibliotext that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most believe. So even those who think they're highly educated and this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. The gods are back. The Moors are strapped. We waking up. And we want our land back, running off, that's a trap. You know them guys don't like that. Waking up from a nap, like where the hell my crown at? Take a step back, like I know this bitch ain't bite back. It's kinda crazy how this karma it strikes back. We enslaved the Slavs, so they slaved us right back. We called them niggas, then they niggered us right back. We brought them to light, but they ain't bring that right back. If I was lazy, dirty dancing with the baby, then maybe, then just maybe won't revolt like Haiti. I too smart, love a tour, Marcus Garvey, your ass. No, but you are leading, God body the man. Now I ain't gotta be bad, and you ain't gotta be mad, but the planet is heating up, so the first I'll be last. I got that melanin that's better than anything you ever medicine. We at your front door, wonder why you never let us in. Oh, I get it, you never wanted to put some credits in. Well, just forget it, cause I don't know if you can edit sin. We've been enlightened long before Thomas Edison. Skeletons to prove that you wasn't even relevant. In the Caucasus Mountains, cause the sun was your deficit. Captain Caveman with the plan of the Jesuits. Check my bloodline, but in time I bring the evidence. Self-governing body, so I don't need no president. Democrat, Republican, donkey versus elephant. I studied in law, so I ain't down with none of that. I self-law and master, so I'm running that. This Molotov cocktail burns faster, so I like the match. Despite the fact that ain't even what I'm mad at. I spit the truth, so here's the roof, so you can yeah that. My skin is brown and here's the proof, but you ain't hearing that. Said in the eyes of the law, that's why they call you black. Naming all caps when you fall, that's why I strike back. And strike that from the record ab initio. You gon' need more than some pressure, I got a vicious flow. I can take the road to the high, or I can hit them low. Try to calcify my third eye, oh you gon' have to go. Chemtrails all over the sky, and you don't wanna know. Doggone inside of my tribe, they coming no more.
If you believe that your history started on a slave boat, I can guarantee you that's where it ended too. That's what I'm saying. Then, after saying that, and so don't believe me, go back and do some studies past the 1700s, and I'll guarantee you, sure as you're sitting there listening, or wherever you are, watching, listening, you will find nothing but the word Moor. And that's another thing. Because we weren't called black. The description, maybe, black or more or whatever, but that's it. Know the difference between a description and an actual, person, place, or thing, noun. I mean, really.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. From the pyramids to the project, the beginning is the part they want you to forget. Implant your memory with that noose around your neck. It's the king out for planning and set in full effect. The butler, the help, and 12 years a slave. Django and Selma, they get them accolades. They made a movie called Exodus about the gods and kings with an all-white cast from Egypt. Now that's a shame. They ain't never seen no movie about no European slaves. We were traveling the seas when they was living in caves. We had to civilize them, show them how to behave. In fact, we brought them light and taught them how to bathe. This is trading places with stolen identity. We agreed to be educated by our own enemy. Reverse psychology, I'ma need a lobotomy. An exorcism just to get this shit about me. Roz Mariah, Anna Eve, Miss Raheem, Tariq, Cujo from Cannonland. Listen to them speak. I done learned from the best. I don't need no DNA test. The nations in my womb has given from the breast. The empire's back, so you know what's next. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess. Yes, yes. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess.
Birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them? The whole deal was, and this is really quote-unquote promised land. This is really the quote-unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. And I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it. It's the Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal, that they arrived in Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies. That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our problem. That part of our problem is the miseducation. We have been lied to. So I just
want to get you in. What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't in the building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children. Reppin' Friday 30s like Jason without the killing. But we promote life, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, we them light beings. So you might see him on the block getting his posture. Might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking. See the turning heads, whispering gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out. While we box in our own house. We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can all calcify as possible mission. Free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many before the cross, souls God bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. Through dogma rituals, Negro spirituals. Brainwashed subliminal, keep thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past righteous blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms. Wind, brass and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the incarnate. Whether the sky is clear or gray. Rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seed. Speaking to who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. And always look to these holes like hallucinary pimps. Sun walked the desert, been more of a since I found God. Look back, used to see his cringe. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peaks of fears. The sun gon' shine for what fears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear. This deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. This deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place, the spoons on blocks, inspired spots, fill spaces, peel back, rats, who got cases, fire stain the corridors of flemo faces, game changers, rule benders and no pretenders, style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses, send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in, we on our birds, we emerge subliminal being, third eye seeing, still I participate unwilling. They wanna break me, shake, bake, grade me, rolling with my name G, double O-M-B, S-O-N is crazy for a minute that you think you could take me for a fool like a native to his land being schooled by a foreign dude. You mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark pools, I've been saying you mistaken me. You better move for our market, power pin is my tongue, your existence to target, revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide carried out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Out some big heads ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall, round up all your soldiers. Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters better than porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the deep killers of dope, just to keep us afloat. Mind as deep as the boat. Rain is a lethal weapon, we one need to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis Vuitton, the semi-poke. Cause dirty cops to kill your boy, yeah, it's a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prison. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little kids get selling niggas just for bail conditions. It's like the slavery never ended, prison intermission. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me, that makes one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.
young offender on the grid. I've been doing the bit since a little kid. Then it was the adult side. I lose my respect if I let it slide. Then it slid. I kept my flow hid, and the words don't skid. With respect to the house, here's a piece on me. If you wanna leave calmly, while they're busy smoking, I'm easy roping with the hot blonde wide open. It jaws, wasn't joking. Pop your lids unless you really wanna live. Stop the fifth with one less riff. Engineering anonymous. Is it preposterous? They could doctor us. Is it ancient chemist or is it just genetic? All I get is aesthetic. 2 million years of history, just forget it. If you let it, don't you dare ruin your credit as I stare at your social club pinky swear. A supreme being intervened. It was something green. I didn't know how to adjust the screen. Second look, it was just as clean. Dust a fiend with some muscle cream. Let her know this is not a dream. My flow is the stream to the most pristine. You never seen this like these.
The rhyme pattern and design so intricate. You'll never see the sign, so here's a kit. But don't F around with mine or the syndicate. You straight stay in line or the sink again. Like you on a landmine in the sinking pit. It's not just your music, only think like shit. We see right through you phony, you counterfeit. Pass a piece of Frano, wanna roll a split. Where I'm from in Toronto, all we know is flip. Firm grip, under grip, got a holy pit. All they know is download and loading clips. I just rep the G code, we ain't new to this. Don't let me get in beast mode, metamorphosis. Yo, we got the street zone, no forcefulness. And all the ether zone, call me Morpheus. Find our way home, more free us. No scissors and comb, nagas nigga. Blood and bone, muscle tissue, form fetus. And we never on our own, Allah feeds us.
I keep it roping, I'm eloping. Well spoken, here's a token. Genuine, no joking. And if I pause, my mind is in motion. Who's up next for the smoking while I'm bearing arms and steady toting? A brain load of weaponry, ready to expose it. The stories of all lives, I got the man secured to host it. Many wanna boast it and run game and then revoke it. You better off dead. The majority get voted. I post playing, giving you a dosage. The punchline is potent, knocking niggas out like a close fist. Coming from the rats and the roaches. Many want to say they the one who came the closest to royalty and fame, and as the president approaches, acknowledge what my name is and claim an island off the coast. Yes, my chronology is most best. Floating like a lotus, I'm heavy in the streets. Take notice, I've arrived. There's a chance for me to blow this.
Peace and love, Moors. Peace and love, everybody listening or who will listen worldwide. This is MHHS, Sons of Allah. I am Mizraim Aleph L, along with my co-host, Grand Sheikh Kujo Awo L. Peace, Noble.
Islam. Peace, Noble. What's going on with you?
Man, all is well. All is definitely well.
Hear that.
You know how it is, man. We here back, for September 2017 in some very interesting times, as a matter of fact, because this very day is the equinox, so like the balance, the equilibrium, the even, the even flow of things, the balancing out of things. This is that time, It's justice is always on the table, but specifically as we look at the astroscience, astrocausation, in these times of justice right now in Libra season. So, acknowledgement to the times, what we're dealing with. One of the things I just wanted to say right off the bat is that, a lot of times we lose sight of the importance of numbers or the importance of words. So I just wanted to put it out there that, being Moors, we know about the science of the 7, and that this September is actually the 7th month. And, October being the 8th, like October, Octagon, basic things like that I didn't want to overlook. And we've mentioned this before, strictly dealing with, or specifically dealing with the science of the 7, the 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You look at the 12, all of these things correlate. So the 12 months in the year, starting from March, of course, September being the 7th month. This is what time it is. They're open to all of that, all of the ramifications dealing with the science of the seven, whether it's liberal arts, the Elohim, music, 7 tones, 12 semitones, etc. The whole nine, man, like everything. So that being the case, we here, right? Libra season, justice time, equinox. Definitely wanted to talk about the principle, right? Because Noble Drew Ali emphasized 5 principles, being love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And oh, what a time to talk about justice, because we were speaking about this earlier, about the fact that when you really look up the definition, there's ramifications of justice, meaning there's internal justice and external justice. And all of the principles that Noble Drew Ali was emphasizing, they were not precarious based off of what a European thought or didn't think, or they weren't precarious, whereas they can only come from an outside source. And that's for all 5 principles, love, it starts within. Truth, the acceptance of truth, that has to be an internal thing, because, a lot of people have been told or revealed or unveiled, the truth has been unveiled to them, but yet they haven't made the internal choice to, acknowledge or live accordingly to the truth or truths. Same thing with peace, right? Because we were speaking, about how none of these principles are precarious. A being can have the first principle down pat as far as love, but it's an internal thing. Like, you can make the choice to love or hate. You can be a completely negative person or a projective, positive person, but still, nonetheless, those things can't come from third parties or external sources. They're natural energies that you have to have flowing within you. And I wanted to emphasize that so much is that because in these times, when we look at the principles, the 5 principles in totality, understanding that their manifestation is not going to come from external sources, we as, single or individuals have to exercise these principles regardless if a European wants to serve, justice or not. Again, that goes back to the internal justice, not necessarily the external justice. And I will read the definition momentarily, but nonetheless, in these times, I don't think that to actually feel the full impact of what these principles were about, I don't think, and I think this is kind of like where a lot of things have been going wrong for us, is that these were principles that as a nation, we were supposed to abide by, whether the Europeans did or not, you know what I mean? So looking at the situation in so-called St. Louis, to me, is a very clear sign that these people do not care at all about serving justice. But that does not mean that justice doesn't exist and justice won't be served. Because it's like this, right? Justice is an ancient principle. Even in the Declaration of Independence, it talks about the right of the people to alter or abolish any form of government when it becomes abusive. So let's say that the so-called democratic government who's operating in public unconstitutionally, let's say they was altered or abolished tomorrow, justice is still an active principle, no matter what quote-unquote form of government is going on. You understand what I'm saying? Going back to the point that these principles were not precarious on based off of Europeans. They're ancient. They predate the Europeans in their design, in the institutions that they occupy. It predates them and will outlast them. So to understand that, I really wanted to emphasize that at this particular time, dealing with the equinox, initiated into Libra season, which is the exemplification of justice. I mean, you see, you know the artwork in the hieroglyphs of the sister with the scales, the sword, the blindfold, all of these things. Is speaking to the attributes of not really being concerned with the external. Everything is internal. Is very intuitive. So it's like, these things get served whether the Europeans externally want to distribute that or not. But again, the situation with St. Louis, the fact that on a murder case, right, of a European who killed or murdered and denationalized Moor, when it was time for the trial, the magistrate literally was falling to sleep on the bench. High-profile case like that, fell asleep on him, took a nap. Do you understand? So what I'm saying,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Not even sleep. Took a nap. So you know that it's not even, like, he really doesn't care.
No,
right?
Doesn't care. Mhm.
Right. This is the same system that people are saying Moors shouldn't go in there and stand up for their birthright. Dude sleeping? How are you taking that as law and justice or whatever?
Right.
And then after expecting something like, dude was sleeping. Like, what do you want? Another interesting that you brought up. High profile case. This is not some traffic ticket.
Right.
Not some little BS that they just fly people through or whatever. This is high profile case. Judge sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff's going on, not during the recession or something like that. During the stuff, man's falling asleep. Now, if judge is 70 or whatever, we got to ask ourselves, well, what were you doing last night?
Right.
What were you doing last night? Because high-profile case like that, you're the judge. You should be in bed by 9 o'clock.
Right.
Right. But sorry to cut you off, Moore. Carry on.
Yeah. No doubt. But everything you're saying is absolutely correct. You know what I mean? Like the nerve, like the audacity, just like how did he gird up his loins to go to sleep, fam? Like, or take a nap on a case like that. So what I'm saying is, to a point where they're showing you, like, through their actions, they don't even care. Like, he took a nap on the case, and remind you, when you first wake up, you got a lot of downloads going on, subconsciously, consciously, whatever. But whatever realm he was connected to, he came back with a not guilty, right? Because, mind you, what was it? One of the policy enforcers, he waived the jury trial. He was like, I don't want to do the jury trial. He wanted to have a summary proceeding. So he waived the jury and left the judgment, because remind you, in the due process of law case with a jury, the jury is supposed to come to the conclusion, not the judge. So, certain facts and laws and things like that come from the jury, like, you know, but when there's summary trials going on, the judge is the quote unquote judge and the jury. So now there's a lot of things that are left up, you know, to the so-called judge or the magistrate or the inquisitionist in Moorish garb or high priest garb, you know what I'm saying, pretending that they're judges, pretending, you know, that they are about justice, you know, and about law and things like that, when in all reality it's far from the case. And it's like this, man, like, I was thinking about this, man, like, I don't know what that, like, it's almost like the so-called aspects of slavery and owning people are worse today than certain aspects of what it was back then. Because I'm like, yo, they, on a consistent level, like, repetitive, like, abuse, on an abusive, consistent level, they keep showing you that they do not care about policy enforcers murdering people, specifically our people, denationalized. And it's like this. Just take this concept too, right? Back in the days, and even on Django, they showed you, he was like, look, this is my property, and according to the laws of whatever county, I think he said Chickasaw County, he can do what he wants with his property. This is how they are looking at people. And I mean, the same thing is going on today, fam. Like, if they're not showing you that they still respect that code to a certain level, I don't know what is, right? That nationality is the key, right? Not saying that they won't still, you know, try to do their savagery, but nationality is, in fact, the key, because all of these people who they keep coming up who got murdered, you know, our people who got murdered by policemen, highwaymen, the result is continuously the same as far as these murderers being found not guilty. Why is that? You know what I mean? It's not just that they don't like, you know, our people type of thing. Like, this goes back to bureaucratized slavery, like peonage, bondage on paper, right? And they're recognizing this without it being, you know, an open conversation like that. They're like, damn, they still ain't figure it out. Like, these are properties, you know? And then they're going around screaming that Black Lives Matter. And I'm not saying that our people's lives don't matter. It's just the fact that we're not black. They've been saying that shit since the plantations. You feel what I'm saying? And shit, even back then they had a little bit more sense to know a little something more. But it's like, with these property brands, they're going to keep getting inferior results. Is what it is. It's not going to change. Like I said before, man, in the 21st century, a magistrate looked me dead in the face and told me, just because the Constitution was written doesn't mean we can't have slavery. And I've never been, at that time I was not duly convicted of any crimes, like how they say in the 13th Amendment, unless, you know, you're duly convicted of a crime, that's when they bring in slavery, et cetera, et cetera. But I was never even duly convicted, not even wrongfully convicted, like none of that. He just brought up the conversation of slavery. I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm not confused. Like, I know for a fact they look at situations like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are slaves. They don't have no say-so, which is why he could take a nap and wake up with a not guilty verdict for his mans in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, for those who are going out in the field doing the highway work for the Christian Crusaders, lineal descendants of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, to stay in certain positions of power. So like I said, you know, this aspect of justice, it being levels to it. Like I said, you know, internal justice, that's external justice. I personally think at this point, and not even what I personally think, I just know, that, or I would say that, it's more so in these times about going with the internal justice. It's more so going with the internal justice because externally they're not going to do it, and I'm not just saying that to say that. Take other nations as an example. They're operating fine without being under U.S. colonial influence and control or subjugation. They're good. You know what I mean? So it's like justice is still prevailing even without the European system. And like was said, the recompense, the retort is always based in nature, not really in us. So let me just say that. Hold on. Pardon me 1 second, fam. All right, so from the Bouvier's Concise Encyclopedia of Law, under the definition of justice, it says, Toiler exposes the want of utility and exactness in its division of distributive and commutative justice adopted in the compendium or abridgments of the ancient doctors, not no modern doctors, ancient doctors. What are ancient doctors? Right? And prefers the divisions of internal and external justice, the first being a conformity of our will and the later a conformity of our actions to the law. Their union making perfect justice. Will and your actions is conform with the law, not color of law. We're talking natural law, constitutional law, international law. That in itself is perfect justice, whether the Europeans did anything or not, whether they gave you a parking ticket or not. Like the aspect of that is already within you. Like the ability to obtain that is within. And it reminds me so heavy of not just the Libra hieroglyph in artwork, but also the Buddha with his eyes closed, looking within, the internal justice. More so understanding that internal and external justice, the union of that's spiritual, that's intrinsic, right? Once we get there, I think more so we could get into distributive justice, right? Distributive justice.
Quick interjection. Quick interjection. Since you're dealing with definitions, Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, justice from justus, Justus, metaphysical meaning, justice means just, upright. One definition of just is conforming to the spiritual law, righteous before God. Justice signifies that in man's religious consciousness, which truly worships God, which conforms to divine law. So just wanted to slot that in since you were dealing with the definition.
My gosh, thank you for that add-on. That's important. It's just consistent with everything we're saying already.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let me just read this from the John Bouvier's Concise Encyclopedia of Law. It talks about distributive justice. It says distributive justice is that virtue whose object it is to distribute rewards and punishments to each one according to his merits, observing a just proportion by comparison or fat with another, so that neither equal person have unequal things, nor unequal persons things. To look at that, like they already, because everybody talks about being created equal, and we're talking in this time of the equinox or the equal days and night, or equal day and night, or the beginning of the Libra season, all of these things, it's kind of an illusion. You know what I'm saying? Because if people are to be judged according to their actions, everybody's not doing the same thing. So it's like, who's to pass that judgment? You know what I mean? Is it true? Retribution, justice is always in effect. So, it is what it is, man. Like, I don't know. It's nations of Europe, it's going to happen ugly. Like, I know that because, remind you, we talking about going into fall season. Every empire rises and falls. Like, it's the pendulum. It is the
Are you there? Your phone's tripping out. So we're not hearing you right now. Yeah, we're still not hearing you. Well, until you get back in, we'll just put on the record the holy instruction from the prophet on justice. Wow.
Indeed. Peace, Moor. I just want to let you know I'm good. I'm back. But
you're good? All right. Okay, Moor. All right.
Yeah, but please read that, though, because that's important. The fact that Noble Drali even mentioned that in the Circle 7. Read that, bro. Please.
Holy instruction from the prophet, justice. The peace of society dependeth on justice, the happiness of individuals on the safe enjoyment of all their possessions. Keep the desires of thy heart, therefore, within the bounds of moderation. Let the hand of justice lead them aright. Cast not an evil eye on the goods of thy neighbor. Let whatever is his property be sacred from thy touch. Let no temptation allure thee, for any provocation excite thee to lift up thy hand to the hazard of his life. Defame him not in his character, bear no false witness against him. Corrupt not his servant to create for or forsake him. And the wife of his bosom, O tempt not to sin. It will be a grief to his heart, which thou canst not relieve, an injury to his life, which no reparation can atone. In thy dealings with men be impartial and just, and do unto the mass, do unto them as thou wouldst they should do unto thee. Be faithful to thy trust, and deceive not the man who relieth upon thee. Be assured it is less evil in the sight of Allah than to betray. Oppress not the poor, and defraud not his hire, the laboring man. When thou sellest for grain, hear the whispering of conscience and be satisfied with moderation, nor from the ignorance of thy buyer make any advantage. Pay the debts which thou owest, for he who gives thee credit relieth upon thine honor, and to withhold from him his due is both mean and unjust. Finally, O son of society, examine thy heart, call remembrance to thy aid, and if in any of these things thou hast transgressed, and make a speedy reparation to the utmost of thy power. Islam.
And like it said, all of that was right on point. And where he's saying that the peace of society depends on justice, individuals with, pardon me, if I don't have this verbatim, but he said for individuals to enjoy all their possessions, right? And it just reminded me again, going right back into the Constitution with the Fifth Amendment, of not being deprived of your life, liberty, or property, right? Correlating with enjoying all your possessions without just compensation or due process of law, right? So they're taking people's property, infringing on justice, right? And this is what's disturbing the peace of society, when just simple, like, look, there were amazing law students, or, you know what I mean, knowers of law or law lords who were smart enough to model the Constitution after Aboriginal law, you know? So it's like, to violate that is to violate so much. And it's simple. The Constitution is simple. It's not a textbook like the Holy Bible or, you know, Holy Quran, and that's no disrespect to those books at all. But I'm just saying, you know, it's real simple, real easy. The rules are laid out relatively clear, very clear, to say the least. Now, interpretation, that is another thing, you know, because going back to the due process of law, I mean, everything is laid out. The venue jurisdictions in there are laid out. The authority is laid out. You know what I'm saying? Who has it? How do they get it? Who they're supposed to get it from? And we're just talking about on a consensual level, like if you consent to that in certain, because the law of the land is the law of the land, period. But again, you have the divine right of autonomy. That's what I was trying to say about 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. They are designed. They are principles based in autonomy, meaning that they come or demand aspects of self-responsibility to those principles. Like, that's not something you go down to beg for in a line, or, you know, the welfare office, or, you know, the de facto courtrooms. Like, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, when you really study those, like, you know, because a lot of people say, well, I know what it means intuitively, yeah, because the words are used so loosely. But they are in the fountain or ramifications of autonomy. So this is not something you have to come with your head low looking at your feet for, waiting for a European to give you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to come bearing those. And by default, you know, granted, you might have to swing, and I'm speaking metaphysically, swing your sword, the sword of justice or whatnot. But nonetheless, they're going to know that you're not necessarily a pushover by default. By default. So justice, you know what I'm saying? You go, if you're making a special appearance, and, you know, they start talking about your nationality in a degrading way, because this is how arrogant they got it, too. You know, talking about, the Moors, this, that don't work, this, that, and the third. Like, that's already biased, because the whole point of them dispensing justice, if they have it in them, is to be balanced, unbiased, the perfect balance. You know what I'm saying? Just like an empty scale. It would be evened out, just like where we at in time right now with the equinox, right? It's the unbiased balance. You know, there's as much daylight as nightlight. It's 2 scales. It's a duality. And, of course, if a magistrate or a judge is with integrity, being the pay root or impartial, then, of course, the adversaries could put different facts and laws on the scales, and one is going to have to outweigh each other. But if they already got one scale stacked against you, like, and you don't have no chance to put nothing on the scale, and I'm speaking metaphorically or metaphysically, then they're already biased. You know what I'm saying? Like, they putting bricks on the scale, and, you know what I'm saying, putting a sword to your heart chakra when you try to approach the scale or exhibit facts. That's not justice. You know what I'm saying? And I would dare to say it's almost like, in certain aspects, and these days Moors are going through persecutions, not prosecutions. So to understand the difference even within that, that it's a big difference because they're just running a racket, a crazy racket. And then on the other hand, they know when to bow down and bow out. So, I mean, it's like there's so many polarities, but I would have to say, you know, going with the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, what Moors have been saying for decades now, definitely have a stronger chance than of not being pushed over, like push over somebody who doesn't know anything. Because remind you, even when people go to hire their knights and their esquires and things like that, or bounty hunters with suit and ties on, they still get railroaded. So it's like understanding that this thing, if it was a prophecy, I mean, I would say that, damn, it should be time for it to be fulfilled. Even for those who, you know, anybody who got common sense should know that it's time for a prophecy to be fulfilled as far as what it says in the Declaration of Independence, when certain forms of government or any form of government becomes abusive, it is the right of the people alter or abolish it. I don't understand, you know, the aspect of being precarious anymore, specifically to the Europeans, because Noble Drew Ali was mentioning the fact that we're not a beggar nation. And in that same script he wrote, as you mentioned earlier, just means something upright or standing straight up or whatever. But Noble Drew Ali said this. He literally defined Moors as men upright, independent, and fearless. That was his definition of Moors, period. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was his definition of Moors. So, and that's not to say because you got a fearless European, oh, they're a Moor. No. We're talking about those who have the knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying? That these are the attributes. So, you know, with that being said, bro, right now I yield the floor, but it's some interesting times as far as justice is concerned. Because also, too, there's a maxim in law that says prevention is better than cure. And there's a lot of people talking about justice for Kanika Jenkins. You know, rest in peace to that sister. You know what I mean? But the internal justice, there would have been preventive measures. And I know, because 19 is a tender age. You know what I'm saying? It is a very tender age. People don't know their alcohol tolerance levels like that yet. They're drinking, you know what I'm saying, toxins like it's juice. And when they hit them, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I would just say that because, you know, that's not uncommon what happened. I mean, it is, but it's like people get twisted like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying that there should be preventive measures as well in place. Also, the Circle 7 talks about social duties. So as a friend, if you know your friend is that twisted, they should never be left unattended for no, I mean, like, the internal justice, you feel me?
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Like, it don't even matter. Like, okay, she got wasted. Now she's not even in control no more. It's not even about, you know, her making the right or wrong decision no more. It's like, dang, she can't even make the right or wrong decision no more because she's out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that at that particular point,
no, like we were saying earlier, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like also too, perspective of where these people are as far as you know, this generation, where they are in their frame of mind. Because back in the day, we got wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear about no girl and rape that nothing found in no freezers and stuff like that, no hotel party. Like, that's not even what's going on. That's the last thing that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and you know, back then, that whole idea of go walk around some hotel or whatever like that is because, like, who's getting kidnapped by these people? Get trapped in some hotel dungeon or whatever as some sex slave or something like that. So we're just chilling in the room.
Right.
You know, because they talk about, you know, Canada, land of opportunity and stuff like that. But stuff goes on out here too that doesn't make the news or whatever. You know what I mean? So you already had a certain mindset of, all right, well, we're going to wherever this spot is, you know what I mean? It's not somewhere we go every day. So no different than now with the muftis. So you go somewhere new, you check everything before you go start having fun or whatever. Which exit, which staircase, where that door goes to, where this door goes to, you're going to know. And again, to what you were saying, if anybody who's at that whatever party, everybody knows everybody. And back in the day, ain't no strangers coming up in our hotel party. Like, who are you? Like,
right.
Who invited you? Name somebody up in here. What do you mean you heard about the party? You're from the party. What do you mean? Like, who are you? Who invited you? Where's your stuff? Right. You didn't do no secret knock or nothing like that? You want to come up in the party? Get the hell out of here.
Right.
You know? And that was everybody that was there. You know what I mean? Because anybody might answer the door. You know? It's a goddamn hotel party. Anybody might be at the door. Whoever's at the door, pull the door. If you don't know who that is, don't let them in.
Right.
Everybody who's supposed to be at the party is already at the party. Like, what? Who are you expecting? You know, people heard stuff. You know what I mean? People trying to come to our party to get the guy who they have beef with and crazy stuff like that because some baby mother or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, crazy stuff happens. But now, when you look at this situation, you have to blow away all the stuff that so-called, you know, young people are doing. Forget all the stuff that they're doing, wherever they were doing drugs or putting cough syrup in whatever, liquor and, you know what I mean, doing mollies and whatever. Who cares what they were doing? You know what I mean? Like they say, that's their culture or whatever like that, you know, their new generation BS. Okay, forget all that. How come all these videos are just edited and you're seeing people in them and guys hiding behind stuff and people's legs not moving properly because somebody got cropped out but they couldn't really crop it out? When it starts getting into that now you have to wonder why. And if they're going to go through all this, edit videos and do all this stuff for one sister's organs, these people got time on their hands. Mad time on their hands. Because if they want organs, how about you guys just use the ventilation, whatever, you know what I mean? Put everybody to sleep in the room and you have organs for days. How about take out everybody if it's about organs? If you want organs, then what's one girl? What, like, one girl? Whose organs are they trying to get? Whose organs are they trying to give her organs to? Like, who they replacing their stuff with? Who's on the list that they needed her organs? If we're going organ, whatever, if we're going there, you know what I mean? There must be somebody on a list if she's the selected target, because apparently everybody in the room was down with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the hotel was down with it because they gave the room up knowing that this was going to happen. Everybody in the room was down with it. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have, you know, again, this whole thing with social media and whatever, and people think that they can just do whatever and think that, you know, you could push delete or whatever. And it's not there no more. You know what I mean? You're going to upload something and pull it down. Like, this is a new age. When they say Big Brother's watching times 9,999 right now. Big Brother's watching. You thought Big Brother was watching? You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
And going back again to this concept of, you know what I mean, justice and being upright.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just like law. There's positive law and there's negative law. There's negative justice too. There's negative justice where stuff happens so people could get slapped in the face to wake up. You don't want to see the signs that I've been showing you? Okay, how about no more daughter signs? How about that? You learn yet? Or you still didn't learn? Okay. You know, and you just keep sliding down the slope. Because in order for you know, depending on where you manifest, right? Like you can manifest where you're supposed to be, you know, even though it's love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, you manifest somewhere where, you know, you come into this information and you're at the freedom level already. You know, and then you're forcing yourself to love instead of hate and all that when you have to go in order. Because the next thing that's coming up is justice. So look for the signs of it coming or, you know what I mean, whatever, so you can find yourself back to love because these are steps. But these steps aren't going anywhere. There's steps that's going in a circle. You know, Juali said, new Moors are going to come in with their eyes wide open. Those are Moors that's coming in on truth. Yeah, love's not even, they're not even there yet. They still got to go through freedom before they get to love. Because they came in on truth with eyes knowing, seeing and knowing. They already know what's up. They don't know why you got to tell them that they're Moors or whatever. You know, but you can't go back and say, okay, well, now we're going to start dealing with love when, you know, the next principle is where you're supposed to be going so that your transition from Negro, black, colored into Moorish nationality is a smooth transition. Because this is a science. Noble Ali wasn't some clown. He knew exactly what he was doing, why he picked those principles, why he put them in the order that he put them in, why, even when you go through the Quran, that's the justice is pretty much, you know, the chapter that gets the most props out of all the principles because they know other principles got no shout out.
Right.
You didn't shout out a love chapter or a truth chapter. Freedom? I mean, no, nothing. Only justice got a shout out. Okay, probably because you should pay attention to justice, because justice is, you know what I mean. That's the ruler of the board. Because it could come anytime. It could come when you think everything's all love. Justice will bite you. Let you know it ain't all love. Don't get it twisted. Don't get comfortable in your love realm. You know what I mean? Don't get too comfortable. It can't be just truth, because, you know, you're going to go out there and start standing on some truth and realize somebody been lying to you, that you didn't even have truth. Why? Because you didn't go check for yourself, study, like you said, and then that was the justice for not studying 3 times. You got played. That was the justice. If you would have studied, you wouldn't have got played. Because you didn't study, you know, take somebody says, okay, well, justice is coming. You want to try to be peaceful. You know, you want to bother nobody. You know what I'm saying? People want to try to instigate you into things that, you know what I mean, you really don't. That challenge of them testing your peacefulness is justice. Them coming at you. Can you handle it? Are you prepared? You know, do you remember the lesson? Jolly said, hey, if you can't flee, drop the world on a mother, whatever. Doesn't play around with them. You know, which again is justice.
Exactly.
You know? Don't feel to slap somebody with the world if they deserve it. Especially if you've been peaceful. You know? Right? And you already know, on freedom, justice is in freedom. You know?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's funny. It's like they're all about. It's to put it simple. It's like everything is you, right? Because it's like we're talking 5 points, 5 principles that make up a body. Like they're so interrelated to every other one. So like, just look at yourself, for example. We already know the 5-pointed star is the hieroglyph for man in the flesh or human beings in the flesh. But correlating that to the body, your arm, leg, arm, head, or Allah, each one of these body parts, your left arm, left leg, right leg, your head, all of these things are interconnected for the same or for a common purpose of your existence. So they're all connected, just like the 5 principles. And we all know that as human beings, or man in the flesh, shall I say, that the law is us, justice is us, because even when you get down to the anatomy of things, you have a physical constitution, meaning that you literally are the law. I mean, it was already laid out when it says all power is in the people, all political power is in the people. Any so-called state constitution, quasi-national constitution, they all affirm that all political power is in the people. But then you got to understand the difference in that jurisdiction, whereas it's like, yo, you know, are you the people of the quasi-national domicile? You don't have to be to alter or abolish it, as was said in the Declaration of Independence. You understand what I'm saying? Like to not consent to that, because they only got their just right to govern through consent, or they derive their just authority through the consent of the people. That's what it says. That's exactly what it says. So the I am, because like when Noble Drew Ali said, study, and then study yourself after you studied well, you realize like, damn, I am. That's a mantra. Anytime you start off a sentence with I am, that's a declaration. You know what I mean? That's an affirmative statement. So I am that I am, just off a natural birth. There's birthrights that are inherent to existence. And, you know, you see the challenge on that early and often. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy out here, but early and often. So it's about being in contact with the divine, but also knowing that, you know, we are creators and create our own at the same time. So, like, everything isn't just, I mean, everything is energy, but the responsibility to be active and take actions in certain things has to come through our own will. Like, we have to agree with ourselves first and foremost to make the right actions, to the choices, you know what I mean, based off of the natural law, the I am. So, I mean, to this day, you know, it's crazy, because it's even like down to what King was saying, Dr. Martin Luther King, when he was talking about being exiled in your own homeland. Like, that's a strong statement, even though we're not Negro, black, and colored. Just think about that. Exiled in your own homeland, how? I mean, look at it. They got fake identifications, which they call driver's license, state IDs, all of those. None of those are actual identifiers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nonetheless, you know, they use or try to utilize those instruments as if that is the case. So it's so much going on with the mentality of taking territorial, personal jurisdiction, by default going in having subject matter jurisdiction, because you're already subjected as they spoke of in the 14th Amendment and things like that. And I was speaking about it. I'm like, I honestly think, because at the end of every war, there has to be a peace treaty agreement just to certify or solidify that there's, or document the fact that war is over. Like, whenever there's a real war going on by two respective parties, you know what I'm saying? The ultimate conclusion of it usually is a peace treaty or something, or some sort of compromise or something like that. And I honestly think that even with the so-called Civil War, that the peace treaty between the Union and Confederates was the 14th Amendment. Like, I really do believe that, because, and it makes sense, because the whole thing is that the Confederates wanted to keep slavery, and so did the Union. So they came to an agreement or a compromise about the jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of this plays a part in quote-unquote justice, because they're like, look, if you're born in the quote-unquote so-called United States, which is an artificial concept, you're subject to that jurisdiction and the state wherein you reside. All of that is duplicity. You know what I'm saying? It really is. So it's like, it in itself is a matrix. And I think that that's how they agreed that they would still keep it going for themselves as far as the institutionalized aspects of slavery or servitude or peonage. I really do believe that that was their agreement to do that, the 14th Amendment, which is why it's not, and knowing that it's not really ratified, you know, it's not like a treaty on its own. I just think that that was like an agreement for them to keep the peace, because they had some of the same interests, you know, and it wasn't necessarily justice for all. It wasn't that. So, I mean, it just is what it is. So the natural law, the Constitution, your physical anatomy, all of these things, you know, are interrelated to the I am, and, you know, certainly the power that is in fact in the people, you know. So
no, just said that, right? So there's the reference points in the Aboriginal cultures of when the people had to revert to the I am, right? And it goes back to that same concept that when the people realize that the government or the leader or whatever is a fraud, right? The purpose of people is to administer the justice, because that individual is in violation. They're in dereliction of duty because they had a specific position that they neglected to carry out. So the example is given in The Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth by Malik H. Jabbar. And this is on page 59.
Right on.
But this part's a little long. But just to quickly go through this part. So it's talking about in the context of natural religions of the world, there's definite dualism, right? So, you know, there's always this concept of light and goodness and safety or whatever being relative, and darkness and evil and oppression or whatever, right? So he goes into the story about these deities in the Aztec mythology, Quetzalcoatl. And then Quetzalcoatl's message was that, well, you know, he's going to be light-skinned and bearded when he comes back. And the reason that what they got is because they thought that was the coming of Quetzalcoatl. That's why they let their arms down. when the foreign invaders came, because they saw the light-skinned bearded people coming and thought that it was Quetzalcoatl. So
right.
It goes on to say that the Aztecs could have obliterated those foreign invaders with one stroke, but because of the evident failure of the priesthood to enlighten the political leadership of that region as the true esoteric meanings within their religion, the Aztecs were horribly destroyed. No nation or people can long survive and prosper without an enlightened priesthood. The priesthood serves as counselors and advisors to the political and other leadership. The cultural and historical knowledge of the priesthood is invaluable for preserving the social balance and focus of a given society, and without them, the group is certain to eventually lose their group's purpose and identity, hence ushering in the debilitation and degeneration of the group, or at least the dispersal and dilution of the group. I am is prevalent right now because all these so-called priests that people have been looking at as the whoever's for them have not enlightened them. Right? All the so-called political leaders have no connection to the priesthood who are supposed to enlighten them. So you're clearly living in a time of mobocracy, where left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, left foot doesn't know what the right foot's doing, but, you know, because the body's intact, people aren't threatened.
Mm-hmm.
When it better be you saving yourself at this point.
Yeah.
Because in order for anything to happen externally, it has to be done internally first. That's the theme. If you're not happy inside, don't look for happiness outside yourself. I don't care how much times you read the Quran and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much yoga you do, how much meditation you do. If you're not grounded within yourself, meditation's not going to ground you.
Exactly. It reminded me of what Noble Jolly was saying in the Circle 7 about the attainment of virtue and the science of happiness being the study of his life. He was mentioning that, and I apologize, I don't have the exact quote down, but absolutely, he did say that. And he was talking about their utility to the public, crowning them with honor, and then he's going into the fact that the attainment of virtue and the study of happiness is the science of his life. Pardon me, I just wanted to add that on in conjunction with what you just said. And another thing I wanted to add on too, to what you was just saying about the high priests, you know what I mean? Like, they do have their place, even though we know today that the priesthood is dead, but just the fact that they had their place through every society. Like, if you look at the movie 300, when Leonidas wanted to go to war, I think he was trying to get permission, and he was talking to the monster goblin-looking dude, and he's like, nah, I got to talk and consult with the oracle first. I think that was his exact words. And what did he do? He went to one of their women and started working magic on her. She was floating and all of that. Now, I know this seems like, you know, let me say a fantasy type thing or science fiction, but there's so many messages in that. You know what I'm saying? Because he told Leonidas after he did the magic on the woman of their society or whatnot, he came back like, no, don't go to war. And he made some advances in going to battle But nonetheless, he didn't listen to the priesthood, and in the end, they all got rained on with arrows, so they died. They didn't technically win that war. So, though they put up a good fight, you see what I'm saying? So, that concept of the priests having their place, not the dark priesthood, and I'm not saying anything trying to revive a quote-unquote de facto demonic priesthood or anything like that, but believe that it's something in the genes, that sense of intuition that is embedded in people, specifically women, Moorish women. I mean, that aspect of that type of priesthood, of that being what it is, can very well be utilized, fam. I know this to be facts, like definitely facts. But I just wanted to add that on to what you were saying about the priesthood, you know, because everything has its place, but people played with the positions of power so long that the shit became irrelevant, you know what I mean? Because people was finding their way anyway. So not that, you can't take advice or anything like that, but yo, the dark priesthood is definitely a rat. It's a rat. It's over. You know what I'm saying? They've been exposing what their essence is. When Trump is like, yeah, I'm a good Christian, and, he wants to go to war, like, what priest is he dealing with? You know what I'm saying? Who and what spirits was George Bush tapped into at that? Because he was downloading some other stuff. I don't know what he was on, what type of toxins he was dealing with, but yo, I know that he wasn't dealing, like, a lot of times he wasn't in his right mind. He couldn't have been. If he was, that's scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just scary. So, back to that, you know what I mean? Trump.
But then, just as you're saying that, just to think about, the conditions that are created right now, right, is directly related to the mindset of Negro, black, colored people who don't know themselves. Like, there's a direct correlation between what's going on in society, especially in North America, and then parts of the world that are attached to North America through dealing with U.S. Corporation. That justice is being administered for even people who, were playing a sidebar role in our enslavement, mentally, especially.
Right.
Everybody's on the list right now. But again, it's because of this lack of love mentality of our people, like this negligence of self, whether it's internal self, external self, whatever. In every single way, our people are denying themselves. In every single way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the presentation that Moors have been presented with that save them from being in the place where some of these people are is directly related to knowing that we've been connected to this. This is not something new to us. This is like deja vu to us. We've been here already.
Yeah.
Many things are extremely relative and relevant that you can't really pinpoint how you know or where this came from or why am I. You just automatically know that, this is something from the ancestors, so I'm going to run with it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all like everything is dealing with making sure that you avoid others' justice.
Right.
Because you have and we need you because you are a priest unto yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There are individuals on the planet who can benefit from your existence. You know, we're not talking about Negro, black, colored people. We're talking about Moors who have knowledge of self, know who they are. You know what I mean? Have tapped into the spiritual world. You know, those who are working on their little books and starting to get out of that shell of whatever and starting to, you know, put information out based on what they know. Because everybody's not going to have the same concept. And trust me, you talk to some of these Moors out here that's been studying 3, 4, 5 years from RVBey publications and, you know, Canaan Land Moors, you know, Great Seal and whatever. You talk to some of them people, you think you're dealing with some high priest.
Exactly.
And these are just you know, just some brothers and sisters out here, you know what I mean, just who know that they're Moors and they're in tune with their download. You know what I'm saying? And even them realizing that, yeah, you know, I got to be my own priest because, you know, I'm the only individual where I am at or whatever, and there's no Moors around here. Then trust you're going to be a high priest unto yourself if no Moors are around you.
Mm-hmm.
You have no choice. You know, no temple where you're at. No choice but to be a priest unto yourself. Even if you can call into the show, and that's different than elbow to elbow with Moors.
Right. That. Now you're talking about resonance fields, all of that.
Right.
Yeah. The further away two magnets are, the harder the attraction. In some cases, if I could use that as a metaphor, but the closer they get, the more that connection is destined to happen. So, yeah, like you said, being in the presence of one another, and that in itself being an uplifting act. I don't know, man. Like, I be wanting my space and things like that, but I always feel good and uplifted after congregating with Moors out in the world, like, or aggregating and whatnot. Like, I don't know, man, because it's like a couple years ago, not even a couple years ago, but a while ago, you try to have a conversation like this, and, you know, you was looked at as damn near crazy, you know what I'm saying? By some who lack understanding. But the more you do know, the easier, and it just becomes like breathing. Like, it's just a part of you. It is you now. You are what you know. So when you are being what you know, everything else just opens up, you know? And again, man, like, the aspect of going through that study process, like, you know, we put time in studying to the point where we just realize, like, yo, life itself is an open book. Like, just being outside, just go to a historical town and read the plaques, all of those things, the landmark, the historical landmark is, they be dropping it all around, like, and you start realizing, like, damn, wherever I go, something to learn from. It could just be a sign, a certain bird you saw or whatever it is, and you start connecting and seeing it a whole different way, especially after you coming off those pages where it's telling you in the Circle 7, like, you know, every living thing is connected to every other living thing. I share this with you real quick, too. Like, certain people have just innate demonic natures. Like, I was in so-called New York the other day, and I'm coming out of this store, and it was a European. You could tell he was European, but he had on a pink mask. Like, he had on a pink mask, a black hoodie. And as I'm coming out of the store, I see a bird, like, right on the street, like by the street in the sidewalk curb. This European with the mask on just goes to kick at the bird. Just demonic shit, just for no reason. The bird is doing nothing to him. But to me, it just showed that that's in his spirit. You feel me? Like, a lot of them have that spirit to just harm shit that does nothing to them. Like, it is what it is. Same thing they did with the buffalo. Like, they can't, it's hard for them to coexist with anything. Like, and that's the truth. They're like, and they come, some of them are passed, like, those genes are passed down. Like, they can't peacefully coexist with anything. I mean, even though they don't have a choice with certain things, but, you know, it was a time certain animals was coming up to human beings because they knew the lords of the land, like, you know what I'm saying? Now, a deer see a human, it's running because they know, like, it's been, they got the word out, like, yo, they shoot to kill, you heard? So, I don't know, it's just like, that meant something to me when I saw it. It hit me a whole nother way as far as just studying the environment and realizing, like, damn, you know, this is a young European already expressing his disdain for nature by going to kick at the bird. And, you know, again, I don't like to, quote unquote, paint everybody with the same brush, but it's a it's a substantial track record of these Europeans being like that. You know what I'm saying? Taking daggers straight into the fish tank, coming out with the fish, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just sociopathic shit. Just I don't know, man. But yeah, I correlate that back to what you were saying about, you know, being a priest amongst yourself, being in tune with everything, and the fact that all of that is a part of internal justice as well, because when you come to that balance, you know, realizing that you can coexist with nature to the point of having certain relationships with animals. And some people be like, oh, that's crazy, this, that, and the third. That's because they're so out of their natural mind, they can't fathom a thought like that. You know what I'm saying? Without being a modern relationship, like human, dog-human relationship and things like that. But we talking about wild animals. How long do we coexist without taking extreme measures to do damage in the natural environment? You know what I'm saying? Like, naturally, just being just natural justice, regardless of all of that, just the ability to coexist is real. So, you know, I leave that back on point with you on the justice note. Before I didn't want to cut your wisdom, because you was talking about the natural religions and, you know, high priest and things like that. All of them was in tune with nature. Bottom line. That's just the bottom line. And it's an amazing thing. So, again, all of that correlating to where we at now with the equinox, the equal day, equal night, the balance, the stations of the sun, you know, planning according to these stations and the moon, excuse me. It's not just, you know, that energy, but the correlation between these creative forces and knowing that to the point where, yo, even with the Willie Lynch plan, they was like, yo, we want the intelligence for them to be, they wanted our intelligence to be like equal with the beast of the field. They literally said that in the doctrine. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Noble Drew Ali had to even say, like, yo, even though the sun hangs at high noon, men comprehend not the light. Like, think about how low the intelligence had to go for that to have been the case. And in some cases, still is the case. Like, they don't even know why the sun and the moon is shining. It just is what it is. Like, but they don't even connect the fact that there's creative forces dealing with natural law, still looking for the mystery God. So, I mean, all that correlates to what you were saying and the natural justice, from my humble perspective. Noble, you still there? Okay, so I don't know what's good, but I'll add this on because we was talking about the science of the seven. Hopefully Cujo will be back in, but I'll add this on. This is speaking about the Hermetic Constitution of Man. This is out of the book The Light of Egypt, Chapter 2. It enumerates seven paragraphs about the Hermetic Constitution of Man. And I bet. Cool. Hold on. Peace, Noble.
Yeah, peace, Moor.
You there? Oh, okay, cool.
I'm
right, then what happened? I bet. Cool.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you were talking about making the connection. You're talking about making the connection, and when you were talking about that, I was thinking about Noble Drew Ali telling us about having the mindset of our foremothers and forefathers, and you were talking about this disregard for nature that some disagreeable beings have, kicking birds or whatever. And
yeah, man.
You think about the psychology of the European during slavery times, even up to like the 1900s, referring to quote unquote black people as monkeys or whatever, right? And
right.
Nowadays, with these people not knowing who they are and adopting the European mindset, they're now exercising with their own people who are now the animals, the same way that the Europeans did when they came here. How they relate to each other is relative to how European related to a buffalo.
Right.
Or Europe related to the natural habitat. In a pillagous, disgusting, colonial sort of, I'm your boy, stab you in the back type of thing. I'm nature. So here's some water, and then they're taking the water while they're dumping BS in it.
Right, spiking drink.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The same concept. Spike their own drink. They put coke in their own weed.
Yeah.
Like, they're not getting it like that from somebody doing something to them. They themselves are opening the cough syrup, putting it in liquor, and then drinking that. When they say on the bottle of that thing, don't drink this with liquor.
Right.
You want to know how people are messed up out here? And again, mainly our people. Again, like one of the Moors sent this post talking about he went to the store to go get some fish. He put down his nationality card, and lady at the desk, who is not, quote unquote black lady or whatever, she's obviously from some other nation, right? Mm-hmm. She's telling him about, your stuff is priority now. So, again, with Drew Ali and brothers from the East coming to help us and stuff like that. Remember, brothers from the East are not coming here to help Negro, black, colored people. That's not the people classified as that are who they feed off of.
Exactly.
But enough Moors have enough examples of, getting treated properly by brothers in the East. Taking them in the back of their restaurant, showing them the Moroccan flag on the wall, and, bringing out their personal, life items to show them more.
Mm-hmm.
To inspire more, to let them more know that, hey, you know what, you're really on the right path, like, going back to your nationality and birthright and stuff, it's real. Mm-hmm. And none of that could be done. None of that can manifest without having complete knowledge of who we are, having a complete, like we go to like we're going to say, me, I'm going to talk for myself. Like, I don't really tell people go to the Bible and stuff like that to use that as a reference. Too much books out there to use that. But know that when you got sun, moon, stars, new moon, and all these stuff mentioned in scriptures, like 500 times moon is mentioned in scriptures. Do you think moon doesn't mean something to God or whatever? Or the holy people who, whoever they consider that they come from? But you talk to some people about astrology and see how they treat you like you're Satan or whatever. When they're supposed to be religious people who got the book that says new moon and all that stuff, that the feast is happening on a new moon.
Right. Yeah.
That the sun was shining and the whatever like that, then blatant. And they still deny, which again goes back to why justice is taking place, because, like, you can't just keep denying the stuff like somebody's not looking. Like, there's ancestors and entities and spirits and jinns, and there's all this stuff in the other realms.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's other things. Like, speak like there are other things. Like, they're talking about how, people on Earth should consider how much they matter. And then they showed a picture of, like, some sun that they found that's 800 times bigger than our sun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, slap people to come to the realization that, things aren't how it looks in your face. Like, you better wake the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
The realest.
Like, somebody dropped the realest one. Like, especially with, people who are, south and stuff like that. You're going to have a family and all that stuff. You better check baby pictures and stuff like that, because stuff's not what it is right now.
Yeah.
Like, things are not how they seem or appear. Like I said, we just put up the video with the Kanika Jenkins stuff, and this editor dude is, he's talking about, he's giving his position because he edits videos. You know what I mean? Like, dumb person could see that this whole stuff is a setup.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, literally showing them moving, taking people out of stuff, and no different than, they show you how they use the graphic arts for their little magazine photo stuff to get people to buy products or whatever. Now, they'll doctor a picture. They'll doctor a picture to make you think that, this is what's going to happen when you use this product. And then people go buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So this place, place that's going on right now, it's mare of steel right now. And like we were saying also too, don't forget that anybody can get it right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the world is cleansing. It's a world cleanse happening now. It's not, specific to, that's happening to the Europeans because they enslaved the black man, so they're getting whatever. No, everybody's getting it. People who didn't even do nothing for the last 20 years, bad to anybody, are getting it.
Yep.
Because everything's sped up. All your karma, all your whatever, everything's sped up now. So you're going to get things that you might not expect. Stuff that you thought you got away with and stuff like that. Everybody's going to get their stuff. And then again, going back to the prophecy, Joali said, good Moors, even your coattails is going to burn. While you're looking at Dirty Moors' whole jacket burning, watch your coattail.
Mm-hmm. Know that.
No. Don't get it twisted. That we're exempt. We're not obligated to justice because, we're with the prophet, and we are the principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and all that. We got a nationality card and whatever. That's not excusing you. Especially if, again, everything Noble Drew Ali said is spirit, more had better heed. So if you didn't heed, then you got judgment for that. So he told you, don't endanger your life with a fool. Why? Because you're going to get what the fool gets.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yo, I didn't want to cut your wisdom, right? I didn't want to cut your wisdom, but I wanted to add on to the exceptional treatment that Moors do get from other nations. Remember a while ago I sent you an Asiatic hat, the Raven joint. Like, you remember that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I was wearing that, right? And I went to the store, and it was a brother from the Philippines. When he saw me wearing it, he stopped, and he was like, he asked me about the hat. He was like, I forgot what he said. I don't know if he was like, oh, yeah, he asked me where did I get it from. And he went on to explain to me that they wear those in the Philippines. And I'm like, oh, so you know about Moros then, right? Like, he lit up. He was like, yeah. I'm like, right, it's Moorish. This is Asiatic. It's a Moorish crown. He was like, my gosh. He was like, yo. He started telling me about the Moros in the Philippines. He was like, yo, they don't want us to rule them, though. I don't think he really got it, you know what I'm saying, because he's looking at it as being Philippine, opposed to the Moors there, knowing that they're Moors. Like, we don't want nothing to do with that corporate jurisdiction. But he put that together real quick. He was like, yeah, the Moros, they don't want Philippines to rule over them. I'm like, that's just because, they're more so about their natural existence opposed to the corporate artificial jurisdiction, like how they colonized here. And he was getting what I was saying, but he went on to explain to me. He was like, do you know that the gun, the 45 handgun, was invented specifically for Moors in the Philippines? This is what he was telling me. He was like, because they were shooting at Moors there, and they weren't dying. Like, they were still charging with machetes. Pardon me if this seems a little graphic, but I'm telling you, this is what he was telling me. So we had that conversation, and that's what he said to me, that the 45 handgun was invented specifically for Moors because we wouldn't die when they were shooting those weaker versions of firearms and whatnot. And was still taking heads with gunshot wounds and all of that. Machetes were still swinging, you know what I'm saying? And they couldn't do nothing about it to stop them. So I come back to the store about like a week later, and just so happened my mother was with me, and she needed to use the bathroom. Now, about like that every public store is supposed to have a bathroom that people can use. But a lot of them don't extend that, you know what I'm saying, opportunity to just anybody. You feel me? Like, they'll say they don't have a bathroom. Tom, at the time, my mom was trying to use the bathroom. He didn't know this was my mother, though. So he was like, oh, no, the bathroom is not for use. And I replied, I was like, all right, we're going to stop at another store. He was like, oh, she with you? I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. He was like, oh, yeah, the bathroom, just go straight through that door, walk straight to the back, you know what I'm saying? Your left or right, whatever. Just off the strength, because we had that conversation about Moors a week earlier. So he's like, oh, you already know. But I just wanted to correlate that because, based off of the conversation or Moorish nationality, he already knew he was obligated to extend that. You know what I'm saying? But had he just been looking at us like just some random, quote unquote, niggas type mentality, he would have stuck to, oh, we don't have a bathroom. You feel me? So the treatment is way different. You feel me? It's way different. And that didn't go unnoticed to me because I know exactly why he did it. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's foul to try to play people like that. But nonetheless, when they know we know, like, they extend a lot of stuff, fam. Like, it's really no problem with them.
They go hard.
Yeah, they go hard. Definitely.
Even today, I was at the post office and waiting in line. This is older European lady was in front of me, and she turned around. She was looking for something, and then she seen the Great Seal pendant. He's like, "You mind if I touch that or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead or whatever." She's like, "Oh." And she has like a German accent, you know what I mean? Like strong German accent. You know how they have that rough accent, you know? So she's talking about how there's a pyramid in Germany and how it's just known, you know what I mean, that people who look like us have been everywhere and inspired, you know what I mean, like greatness. Just 2 minutes, just standing in the line at the thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't have to talk about that. She didn't have to bring anything up.
Right.
You know. Like it to the point of going out of her way to actually hold it and read it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And of course, it says Moorish nation on it, so you already knew that was the icebreaker.
Exactly.
She was good at that. She wished she had another half hour or something like that to build.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because it's a well known fact that that's the hidden history of the world, the history of the Moors. What they did, where they went, who they knew. You know what I mean? Like, that's the hidden history. But it's only hidden from those who aren't priests unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in every nation, like Islam to Mantis views 29, you keep going back to the little Asiatic brother, jump in the tractor and just do his stuff. Priest unto himself.
Exactly.
Priest unto himself. What do you mean? What do you mean, dad help do what? What do you mean?
Right. At 5, though.
Let's get this. Let's do this work. Yeah, let's do this work.
Yeah. At 5. And that wasn't no slave labor, nothing. Like, that's the norm for nationals. You know what I mean? Specifically, Manchurians, China, like, they operate on a level of autonomy that's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And they don't play. They got, man, look, they got the stores everywhere. They got an Asiatic store out here. It's not too many dark melanated people that work in it. But, they're like, they respect nationality on a whole nother level. I'm going to save that story for my mom to tell one day. But you know what I'm saying? They respect nationality on a whole nother level because they are nationals. So they don't care about, you know what I'm saying, the Pilgrim documents like that. They don't. And it's like a whole bunch of them that work there, and none of them speak English. Like, no jurisdiction. Like, no, but they there. You know what I'm saying? They know what the notes look like, what you're supposed to give them. They got their math down. But as far as speaking English, very few of them do, you know. And they try. Like, I go there, they got the, they got different vegetables and fruits and things like that. But you know, as I go there, I see like they pick up certain things and they're getting better. Like we're saying, hello, how are you, and things like that. But they speak very little English, and everything is based off of energy. They smile, laugh, all of these things. But the words, you know, it's a communication barrier. But nonetheless, they know nationals. You know what I'm saying? Like they know when they see exactly what time it is. So, yeah. But like I said, I'm gonna let my mother save that story. But those Asiatics, man, they don't play, bro. Like 5 years old, you know what I'm saying? Already experienced in tractors. No CDL, no none of that. They don't even qualify to get one. They already over there putting in construction work at 5. 5 years old. Tractors. So I mean, other nations, man, like that, the national, and it's not just there. Even the young girl in Venezuela who was whipping tractor trailers at 12, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like the long joints, the trailers that could jackknife. She's wheeling those. So I'm like, yo, this is justice. If if they're responsible, I mean, shit. But the thing is, I think we get held back because it's like a design to retard the process of growth. So it's like a slow growth for everything. You know, a lot of options aren't available until you're about 18. They're moving that up to 19 in different places and things like that. So it's like the process of retarding growth is in effect. You know, the minority game is real, and that's not with numbers. That's the mindset, the mentality that they want to keep people in. But again, you know, ignorance is no excuse. That form of spell can easily be broken through action, though. Through action, and yeah, you're gonna have to go through that period of being dedicated to, you know, studying. You know what I mean? Don't think you're about to make change on the world and don't know nothing. Like that's absurd. You know what I'm saying? It truly is. So, man, I don't know, but I do want to say this because I know we're moving into the last hour, and we was talking on justice. I just wanted to read an excerpt from John Bouvier's Institutes of American Law, the Book of Equity, number 3724. It says, there is a kind of equity, right? Because remind you, equity, equality, equinox, equilibrium, equal balance, all of these things are interrelated to justice, or to this very day we're existing on right now, being the autumn equinox. And it's a lot to do with equity, and equity is constitutional because in the Constitution it talks about, in Article 3, it talks about all cases in law and equity. You know what I mean? The Supreme Court having original jurisdiction. So understand that you need to know how to classify your case, because is it a lawful case? Is it equity? And we're not talking about the interest you took out on the home or anything like that. Like, we're talking about the principle. So, number 3724, from out of the John Bouvier's Institutes of American Law, it says, there is a kind of equity which is founded in natural justice, in honesty and right, and which arises ex equo et bono. This is called natural equity. It corresponds precisely with the definition of justice or natural law, which is a constant and perpetual will to give to every man what is his. This kind of equity embraces so wide a range that human tribunals have never attempted to enforce it. Why did it say that? Human tribunals have never attempted to enforce it. anyway, it says every code of laws, because remind you, going back to the 7 sages that convened when it was talking in the Red Book, when it talks about these 7 sages convene to direct the course of nations, see how far the race has come and things like that. But this is back on the divine level, as above, so below, divine and national. So it says every code of laws has left many matters of natural justice or equity wholly unprovided for, from the difficulty of framing general rules to apply to them, from the almost impossibility of enforcing a compliance with its requirements, and from the doubtful nature of the policy of attempting to give a legal sanction to duties of imperfect obligations, such as charity, gratitude, or kindness. And this goes on to say, deferring altogether from this, there is another kind called civil equity. This is deduced from and governed by such civil maxims as are adopted by any particular state or community. This alone will form the subject of this book. And it goes, pardon me. For all of those listening via internet, the internet feed is going to go down in about a minute and a half. So you can go back and listen to this in its totality, either tomorrow or, after 12 o'clock, or you can check it out on Najib Savar Ill's YouTube page. And the last hour, listen to the last hour in its totality. So we're going to go in for another hour. And if you're listening to the internet, you won't be able to hear it. But you can call in now at 425-569-5201. Again, that is 425-569-5201. And after 11 o'clock hits, you won't be able to either. So, and thanks for listening. But back to this, right? Going in on equity, right? Again, correlating with the times right now, equinox. It says law is nothing without equity. Equity is everything, even without law. Okay, so law is nothing without equity, and equity is everything, even without law. Like I was telling you, like we were speaking of in the beginning of this conversation, I was saying that justice is not precarious on European institutions. It's a principle that exists, predated the existence of the Europeans. You know what I mean? It's an ancient principle that's going to exist regardless. So now it's like, what type of justice are you looking for, the internal or the external? And how do you intend to go about that? Because these are principles, Moors, that Noble Drew Ali specifically emphasized as far as love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So I'm going to bring that back. And again, go back and read your constitutions when it talks about all cases in law and in equity. All right? So, and this is all due respect to the law, because law does govern all events, and it's thoroughly interrelated to equity. But it says here, I'm just saying, it says law is nothing without equity, and equity is everything, even without law. Those who perceive what is just and what is unjust only through the eyes of the law never see it as well as those who behold it with the eyes of equity. Law may be looked upon in some manner as an assistance for those who have a weak perception of right and wrong, in the same way that optical glasses are useful to those who are short-sighted or whose visual organs are deficient. Equity in its true and genuine meaning is the soul and spirit of the law. Positive law is construed and rational law is made by it. And again, this is Institutes of American Law, Book of Equity. I was just reading excerpts from Enumeration 3724, 3724. So it goes on to say, and I know I mentioned this before, but it's a fact that needs to be ameliorated or exemplified. Where it's saying equity is not an arbitrary opinion of the judge. It is subject to certain and fixed rules. Going back to what we were saying earlier about, the magistrate's first duty is to be impartial. If they're biased, they're already disqualified. Whether you're right or wrong is different, you know what I'm saying? But the bias, if they start disrespecting your nationality, national existence, by saying we don't recognize that and, you're part of some cult type of thing, whatever that is, understand that that's biased. It's not equitable. It's not balanced. It's not the justice, the universal justice, So, all right, so again, I'm going to say this. Equity is not an arbitrary opinion of the judge. It is subject to certain and fixed rules, for unless it be directed by science, it becomes uncertain and unknown, right? So it has to be directed by science. Like, what is science, right? Because mind you, Noble Drew Ali came with the Moorish Holy Temple of Science as well. He was talking about science. Feel me? It's not a light subject. This is serious words he was utilizing to affirm what it is that he was bringing to the table. You know what I'm saying? And it has its place in law and all of that. So, again, it's in law. Science, math, law, all of these things go hand to hand in its pristine form. So, unless it be directed by science, and again, we're talking about the science of the universe, correlating right now with the times we're in, with justice, Libra. These are natural sciences, the science of astrology, cosmology. All of this is science. The artwork of representing Libra and things like that. Science, art, all of this. Scales, that's science, math. You know what I'm saying? Equinox, again, you're talking science. Equal day, equal night, how does that go down? The positions of the planets, that's math as well. But let me not harp on that too much. But unless it be directed by science, it becomes uncertain and unknown, and in such case, the magistrate must tremble while sitting in the temple of justice. His mind will wander in pursuit of a phantom of equity, purely imaginary. Frequently what appears just to one man seems unjust to another, and yet both act in good faith. Each sustains the side he has adopted, apparently with arms of equal power, which renders it extremely difficult to decide to whom three should be awarded. So, again, man, I mean, just getting back to this Constitution, because, people try to downplay studying, but then it's like, damn, you still could be dumb as hell if you don't study, and that's not stupid. But ignorance to the law is no excuse. You know what I'm saying? So play the cool kid if you like, but I would suggest thoroughly, you feel me, that you take the time that you can to learn as much as you can from the source and weigh the different sources out too. Compare the sources, all of these things, so that you don't get jibbed, or you don't jib yourself. Better to know than to be ignorant, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's still challenges that come with what you know, because you got to be what you know. But shit, it's better to know than to not know. Be given a choice, you know what I'm saying? Ignorance is a choice. So that being said, Noble, that's really the piece I wanted to speak about, as far as equity, equality, equilibrium, you know what I'm saying? Even balance, mental tranquility, you know what I mean? All of these things is is relative, you know. So that being said, I yield the floor right now, Noble.
Just in regard to the balance, for everyone to also remember that the Moors are the custodians of ancient African culture. So any so-called African teachings relative to balance, you should be studying those too. So you should have, you know, laws of Ma'at, just because Ma'at is balance.
Yeah.
You should have Yoruba, because there's Orishas that have counterparts. You know, Aboriginal indigenous culture. There's always this lesson relative to equality or equity between the higher self and the lower self. You know, there's that place where everything is in harmony. You know, but again, that place of harmony is going to be based on the I am. Because you have your own journey. This is preparation for the next level. This isn't here. This isn't do something here, so something's going to happen here. No, whatever you did here, you're going to get after here. You might get some little stuff to inspire you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And shit, you might
or
come
you
back.
Look at it right?
You know what I mean?
It could
like,
happen.
Real talk. Yeah.
And don't be surprised, you know, when you come back. Don't be surprised when you come back and Skynet took over and it's androids everywhere and all that stuff.
Right. Right.
Because,
exactly.
You know, people who were here, people who are here now, but were here when this was just a beautiful, abundant planet must be pissed.
Right.
You know what I mean? The people who saw this before what we're seeing at now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where you know, people had to be sent by the higher powers to warn people of the wrath that's going to come because they're being dumb niggers or whatever. And then they don't listen. And then the wrath comes and wipes them out. And then the civilization starts again. And then some guys come again and tell these people, hey, you guys just better stop this stupid stuff you're doing or whatever. Man, forget that guy, throw that guy out, you know what I mean? Put that guy on a cross and all that type of stuff. Revelations from the last stuff that happened, you know what I mean? It's not new stuff, but from the last stuff that happened, somebody can tell them again. However the destruction comes, a.k.a. justice, comes through, does whatever, civilization starts again. Okay, you guys get another try now. How much tries do we need to get to realize that we're the ones for what this is, this realm? Nobody controls this realm. This is a limbo realm. Don't tell me about no God, and then people are dying around here right now. I don't want to hear nothing about no God. I don't want to hear it. Nothing external outside yourself. He has pearly gates or whatever. Forget all that shit. That's not a reality right now. When there's water everywhere, up to a goddamn plane. A plane covered by water. You know, a plane covered by water is that place used to be a river or an ocean or some like that.
Mm-hmm.
How's there water above a plane? It's cool. Oh wow, water is above a plane. Wow, look, oh wow, the water is going over a bridge that's over 2 bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're the ones. This is the limbo realm. Meteors hit this and all that type of stuff like it ain't nothing.
Right.
Just
Crazy,
because
bro.
it's just out there. It's just out there. Just third rock from the sun, whatever. Just out here. Whether it's flat, square, whether it's on a freaking oyster's back going across the galaxy, it doesn't matter, whatever the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It can't be about here. Because if you can lick your finger and pick up a grain of sand, that's Earth in the Milky Way.
Mm.
It's probably smaller than that. And we're on that, and we think we're somebody? The hell out of here. You better get your spirit self up if you think you're somebody on Earth plane.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. A grain of sand is worth more to the planet than a being. Because grain of been here.
Yo,
Still
it's
here.
funny you say that.
Sand doesn't have sex and stuff like that, recreate itself or whatever. Some sand still here. We think we're somebody.
Facts. This is true. Hey, but I wanted to add on to that real quick because you was talking about sand. Yeah, my fault. The sand and it being worth more. But look, it reminded me of a scientist who challenged or didn't understand the logic of some people who say they went to Mars, right? So they said they went to Mars and started digging, and they couldn't dig anymore, right? They just broke the surface a little bit, but the rest was extremely challenging to get through, so they gave up and came back and said, there's no life on Mars. And the dude was like, are you serious? Like, did you put the surface that you broke, did you put that under a microscope? Because I guarantee you there's life in that. So just to keep in mind that the importance of the micro and the macro, because they got organisms that live in, the dirt and in the surface of the earth that your eye can't even perceive. You know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of people be like, well, if I can't see it, I can't believe it. Like, the things that you see, it's shit that you can't see on what you're seeing. You get my drift. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be certain microscopic life. I mean, certain life is so microscopic that you can't perceive it. And it's there. It's all around you. But even if you look directly at it, put it close up to your eye, you won't see it until you get the lens, you know what I'm saying, the microscopic lens, and then you can start seeing it. So I think that's also like other beings, aerial beings, you know what I'm saying? How big can a life form be that you can't see with the naked eye? I don't know. Like, it's like sand has a whole nother, like, you could take a beachfront, you know what I'm saying? And we looking at it as sand, but it's so much that we don't see even within that. We just might be looking at tan sand, but it's life forms in that. So, yeah, like you said, a grain of dirt, you know what I'm saying? And that's what the guy basically was saying, like, how dare you, you know what I'm saying, break the surface of Mars, allegedly, and then come back and say it's no life. You got to respect even down to the smallest life form, you know what I mean, to prove that there is life there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But they wasn't thinking like that. They was thinking, I want to see, a alien being that looks human. You know what I'm saying? And shit, I mean, just imagine if we came from another planet, there's places we would land here and say, shit, there's no life out here. You know what I'm saying? You land in the middle of, the desert out in Nevada somewhere, Arizona or something, and it's just desert for miles. You might get the impression that, there's no life there, but that's just one part. You know what I'm saying? So you can't base it off of that. And that's basically what this other scientist was trying to say. And, I don't know what the results was if they did that. They went back and gathered that surface or whatnot, but, it was just a deeper way of looking at it. So, yeah, Moor, I didn't want to cut your wisdom, though. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Moor. Yeah.
Indeed. So, look, we got about, we got one caller, bro.
All right.
And we got about 40 minutes. A couple more callers. Another caller just popped up. All right, so let's take callers because we in the last hour. Time flies, bro.
Yeah.
Time flies. Cool. So we're gonna start off with caller 443-376. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam family. I am Hassan Ghazi Obey Morocco. How's the fam?
Islam, Moor.
All is well.
Islam. I just wanted to say briefly, excellent broadcast, brothers. Excellent, especially on justice. Like, it was really hitting home. And I just wanted to say real briefly, I've had two conversations this past week. One brother, he has said with his mouth he's traveled from Egypt to here, and another brother from Yemen. And the brother from Egypt, when he saw me, because I was at a grocery store, and he approached me with a smile and an open hand. And this was different as far as my experience. And the first thing he says is, that tarboose, did you get it from here or somewhere else? That was the first thing he asked. And when I told him, here, I got it from here, he says, I had no idea that they actually had, headdresses like that here. And when he said that, it took me to another place and what he was really like saying. It sounded like he was really saying like, I had no idea with somebody that would be awake where we are, because the actual area near the Baltimore Corporation where I am, it's not too many Moors, I guess, demonstrating, so to speak, even just as far as their feds on, but a lot of people know exactly what time it is, especially near the Park Heights area. Long story short, speaking with the brother, and he asked me where am I from, and I say, oh, well, here, Morocco. And he said, oh, here. I said, yeah, the Maghreb. He says, yes, brother, but not everybody knows. It's like it blew my mind when he said it the way he said it. And he was like, did you see those guys across the street there? They know nothing. They do not even know that this is their home. And this is exactly what the brother from Egypt said. Today I spoke with the brother from Yemen. And this was at a 7-Eleven, and now yield the floor. It was about 2 days ago, and it was some students, as they call them, and some young unconscious Moors, and they were using profanity. Okay? So I was with one of our family members, and I said, I got a feeling, if you look at this brother's face, the brother from Yemen, he's disgusted right now. If you look, because the children were carrying on and whatever, and right after I said, look at the brother's face, he's disgusted, there were two mothers in there that were not attached to any of those children, but the mothers actually spoke up and corrected them, which is showing me that there's also an energy that is going on where even if Moabite sisters are conscious and or unconscious pertaining to their nationality and birthrights, they're not tolerating certain behaviors out there. And I know a lot of people think, in 2017 people ain't, correcting anybody's children, and that's not really true. And really, when it happened, it was so divine because one mother said something that another mother was like, don't act like I don't know your mother, to the other children. And the way there was no back talk, it was just a set order, and it just showed that when mother lays down law, it must be enforced. And it was so genuine that it brought a smile to the brother in Yemen. It changed his whole complexion and everything. So in noticing that energy, I sat and spoke with the brother about that account today, what happened 2 days ago. And in that, he asked me again as well where I'm from, because he's looking at, he's asking about the Fez. So we exchanged, about Morocco and the Maghreb, and he goes, brother, I cannot believe that you actually know this. Like, the other people need to know, man, because they come in here and they just say stupid stuff. One guy asked me where I'm from. I tell him Yemen. He says, that near New York. And this is exactly what this, and it blew my mind, because the brothers from the East really want us to wake up, but they can't say nothing. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like they can say something, but in dealing with unconscious Moors, with the Roman mindset of Negro black color, they don't want to take a chance. And I actually kind of witnessed that on a different level. Like, I could actually feel that brother's disgust. Like, his whole complexion changed. But long story short, in conversing with that brother, I grabbed a few things from the 7-Eleven. We didn't talk nothing else except about nationality and the Maghreb and Morocco. I had a short, I guess what you could say, a transaction, and it was $2.40, and I think I had 2 notes on me. And I said, man, let me go back to the well and grab some change for you. He said, no, brother, you are fine. I do not need any more from you. You're fine. Take it. And I will say that it's not coming from, let me get tax exempt, I can flash my card. Nah, sometimes when you really just have a civilized conversation with your brothers and sisters from other parts of here, they're actually ready and willing to give you whatever it is that they have at whatever business that they running. So with that, brothers, I yield the floor. Excellent broadcast. Love you, brothers. Islam, peace and love.
Peace, Moor, Islam.
Peace, Noble. All right, there it is. So, they know what's up, man. And it has been documented too that, like, they're instructed not to talk to the unconscious. Also, that when all the so-called, when other nationals come here, they have to take the constitutional test. I forgot the correct name or word to describe it, or what they technically call it. But when they're taking that test, it's all about the Constitution. Like, they learn that right off the bat. Like, so they be knowing, you know what I mean? But that being said, we got one more caller. Skypers. 111. Caller 111. 111.
Yeah, I'm on some other number right now. What's up, greetings, my friend?
You always with another number.
All right.
Good.
Cool, Joe. What's up? I see you calling ancestors out right now. You calling me. You summons me. Balance, huh? Balance. You know what time it is, right? You know I got to hit it with the 1-2 with the banger, right?
Yes, it is.
I like how you're coming. You're doing it right. You're moving right. You're doing right. You're sending vibes out. You're sending frequencies. You know the answers is here. We just watching. We listening. We sitting back. We observing, and we doing the heavy, deep knowledge, man, to what y'all doing, man. So I want to touch on a few things y'all brought up today. That Mayat is basically what we all about, you know. Definitely, I'm on that Mayat 100% to the fullest, you know. And that thing with that sister y'all brought up, that went out there and got jammed up and got taken out, you know, that's how they do. You know what I'm saying? Body parts is a big business out here. You got to get the understanding that, you know, this thing's been going around forever and never, like Hostile. You know that movie Hostile 1 and 2. You know what I'm saying? So, all them type of crazy movies they make in the horror world, they show you what they got going on out here for people. They in the business for body parts. They want that body part if they can get it the best way they can. Take your organs out, utilize it for some wealthy person, you know, that they've been doing forever and never. So, you know, they got these key places set and positioned in places where they know they got to try to obtain a melanin body part, any means necessary. And then you got your own unawoken Moors, Moriscos, or, ones that don't fully understand how powerful it is being who you are, to want to sell out and want to be able to sell and make finances because they can't use their brains in order to function, to make some type of resources in order to maintain. They always want the quick way out, but it ain't all about that. It's how you go about things, you know what I'm saying? But, there's a lot of people that's going to keep coming down those roads, and they're going to get hit in the head constantly until they get it right.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me, fam?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
just as you were saying,
I want to touch on another one. What's that?
No, I was just gonna say what came to my mind as you were talking about the movies or whatever, and this one never hit me before. Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No doubt.
So if you forgot, just do a rewind and go back and check Invasion of the Body Snatchers if you think it's not real.
Yeah.
But I just remember that one. Well, carry on, Moor.
Yeah, and then I got to come out with the other one y'all was talking about. They know who we are at the end of the day. That's why you don't really got to talk, because I know y'all go do your travels. I definitely go do my travels. There's a whole lot of stuff I could be sharing with y'all, what I witnessed and what I came through and what I seen by just being in places, being with that energy of knowing who you are, that vibrates at a pivot where they pick up on it and they know it. There's several ways they act towards you, these foreigners, when they see you and they know you got it. And this is from me to other Moors all around that's listening to this show. Take heed to what I say, my son, and soon one day y'all all gonna be number one. I travel in my journeys. I come across these Europeans, and I might have my fez on now and then, but most of the time, if I don't got my fez on, I still get the same respect. And I see most of the time they don't even want to come near me because they pick up and sense that I know who I am, and they know they better not come incorrect towards me because they see that presence or that energy that's vibrating on a higher vibrational level where they saying, nah, I don't want nothing to do with that person because something about him, he might tear me out the frame, So they walk away, or they just want to be graceful or kind or humble. Because most times they won't say nothing to you, but when they see it, they either give you a little shine, like a high and a smile in the face, when you know they don't want to do it. But they forced to do it because they know you know who you are. They just open up. Then you got some of them that's going to fight it, even though they see the light. They be like, nah. How did he figure out he is who he is? And they'll do things, and they'll be like, try to get out the way immediately when you check them. And they don't even want to be around because they don't want to feel that force that's coming down on their head. They get the hell out of Dodge with the quickness. And basically, sum it all up. It's all about that studies, man. The more you study, the more it becomes a part of you. Also with the health, the more you take care of your health, the more your vibration increases. The more you meditate with breathing, the more your thoughts get cleared out, where you don't get bombarded with all these different thoughts that's floating in the atmosphere that can take over your psyche and control you and have you going down different areas where you will get trapped up with what's going around in this environment we living in. Because we know this is an illusion, and we all see this illusion in those that can see through that illusion, it's self-evident that, it is what it is. It's now what you going to do while you see that illusion. Are you going to let that illusion play you? Or are you going to strategize and play that illusion to the fullest, like a chess game? And, we all been wounded, and we coming out of this psychosis, which is that deep spell. And we definitely got to stay on each other. We got to pull each other's backs. And we got to pull a brother's bootstraps and let them know, no matter what, I love you, I love you, I love you, my brother, because you look like me. Like I'm in the mirror, I smile at myself and I say I love myself when I step out. Before I even step out. And before I go to sleep. I go in the bathroom and look at myself in the mirror and say I love myself. Because I'm looking at myself, and when I step out in the world, I'm looking at a reflection of who I am. Others like me, even if they're not in their right mind. And I notice most of the time that vibration you give off, they feel in a way like, boy, oh boy, I don't want to come near that brother, but I know he might know something that could pass a jewel on to me to help me be a better person. And that's what I like to do when I come across others that look like me, that don't know what time it is, because I hit them and share it with them and tell them, come back to your greatness, because you are who you are. You was always here, and you was never a slave. So you got to understand, you need to pick a book up and read it. Even if you don't grasp it right away, you're going to get it if you study enough, because the study's going to grow on you eventually. You feel me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We all going through our healing. I'm going through my healing still, through the, this resurrection that we all been through. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's a continuously growth and evolving. As we evolve, we become better and better. Because if you want to go to your lower self, you know what the lower self is going to bring to you. That's why it's better to be on your higher self, because your higher self is going to bring the best to you. And I noticed another thing. I don't see too many policy enforcers like I used to see at one time, even though they're still around, but I don't see them around like I used to see them at one time, how they harass the people more. I think there's enough people that are slowly waking up versus with us, of course, where they've been sending enough papers out, is really have a deterrent with them in a way. It's like they caught up in a mix, like in a jam. Like they side themselves and they look around and they looking for the ones that don't know who they are versus the ones that do know. They don't want to be bothered with you because they know they ain't gonna get nowhere. You feel me?
Yep.
And definitely, I want to know something from the both of y'all, from the deepness of my heart. We know who we are. We Sharice. You know what we need to start doing? And I already thought of this a long time ago. I want to get my badge out. And eventually, we could all do this. We need to start doing a citizen arrest on whoever that ain't right and exact. Because we got the authority to do that. Put the cuffs on them, take them to their fake courts that they got kangaroo mockeries in front of their own people or the federal court, and put them on fire and put them away. Because the monkeys is out the cage, running around, acting crazy like Planet of the Apes.
Absolutely. It shows you their progression. It shows you their progression through that movie. You know what I mean?
Right. A lot of us ain't enough of us putting our foot down to put them in their place. That's why they getting away, because they looking at most of us those ones that are not fully awoken are so lackadaisical, they not trying to learn, or they don't even see, or the light ain't enough where they could see that, yo, I really have the power. I can make a transition and make a change for the better with other like-minded people. Because at the end of the day, the stuff going to keep going on with those that don't know, and we got to stop getting caught up with those that don't want to know once they've been given the information. Because you know why? They could always come back. And that's the mighty power of it, through the seed again. And then they might get it on the next go if they don't get it in this lifetime. And I don't know if you see it my way, but that's how I view some things in life that I'm sharing with all you as a Moorish brother. And definitely, you know, we're going to work it out. We're going to get there. Because the stuff that's going on really shouldn't be going on no more. This stuff is way overdue, and we need to get on the ball and get the ball rolling more hard-bodied than ever. Because we got the power in our hands.
Indeed, Noble. With that being said, that being said, I don't want to cut your wisdom. I highly appreciate everything you're saying. But we do have another caller, and I wanted to add this on. Yes, I feel you as far as making, quote-unquote, citizens arrest, but that will also require specifics of what type of citizen are you talking about, and we're not going to go there right now because time is limited.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. You got to keep in mind the difference between an American citizen and a United States citizen. So, what type of citizenship, which jurisdiction are you playing with is the question. And you said something that reminded me of something else in my studies. You said we had to pull these brothers' bootstraps. In the Henry Campbell Black's Law dictionary, page 229, there's a definition called bootstrap doctrine. Bootstrap doctrine. And it says the bootstrap doctrine is the decision of a court on a special as well as a general appearance that it has jurisdiction. It's not subject of collateral attack, but is res judicata, right? Bootstrap doctrine. So like I was saying a couple weeks, because they got the size 25 shoe up there, you know what I'm saying? And they bootstrapping people, you know what I mean? Like, know the difference between, military operations versus, because a lot of people want to blame Moors, like it's our fault that this been going on and all this shit. And it's been going on for decades. I don't know what world they grew up in. You know what I mean? But we can go back to 60s. We could predate even Dry Ali being here. It was illicit, malicious, vile activity going on. And like I said, I think it's worse today. Anytime a damn so-called judge can take a nap on a bench on a high-profile murder case, you feel me? High-profile. I don't know what else is there to say. You know what I'm saying? So, bootstrap doctrine. I don't know if that could. I don't know. I would just say study the bootstrap doctrine for whatever it's worth, because it sounds like we're saying decision of a court on a special as well as a general appearance that it has jurisdiction, is not subject of collateral attack, but is res judicata. It sounds like to me that's what's going on. Moors make a special appearance, and they still acting as if they have jurisdiction. I don't know if that directly relates to the bootstrap doctrine, but there's a case law to look further into it. With that being said, we got one more caller left.
All right?
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you add on.
You already know, no doubt. Until we see
peace.
the next show, peace.
Peace. All right. Cool. Caller 864-295. You're live on the air. You with us, fam?
Yeah, what's good? I just wanted to give y'all a shout out and everybody that's been a caller on the regular. This is Yeshua L at Northwestern Maxim, and I just this like one of the first times I actually caught y'all while you airing. I usually do the recap on Fridays when the other guard puts you guys show on YouTube, so I checked that. But I just wanted to give y'all support, let you know I'm out here, and give you guys a shout out. Give the last caller a shout out. It's all inspiration. I'm out here handling a lot of things and under a lot of pressure as well. But it's all a learning process. So shout to all the Moors out there that's active and doing their thing, and big up to yourself. Big up to Cujo, everybody in Canaan land and the like. So that's what it is, and I'll be checking in next Thursday if I got time to do it. All right.
Indeed, Noble. I highly appreciate that. But just so you know, we only do the Thursday broadcast once a month.
Okay.
We've talked about it, and we're gonna knit something together, probably really soon or within the 2018 Gregorian calendar. But we're thinking about turning up to at least twice a month. But for right now, it's just the every third Thursday. But you can catch us also every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Tuesday as well, where it is me, Cujo, Anna E, and Roz, my mother Roz Mariah. So
what I'll do on the Tuesdays is I'll shoot like more the questions and legal jargon and this, that, and the third on the Tuesday show, and I just because I'm aware now and know how to tune in at those times and all of that. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the work you guys are putting in. And again, big up yourself, to the family and all that. You know what it is. We out here.
Likewise, appreciate you. And just for the record, Cujo extended his acknowledgement as well, but he just got dropped off the call. So
okay, yeah. Bless it. Much love to the guard Cujo. Put a lot of work in. I'm gonna just keep it all the way a buck. Learned a lot from you, brother. Learned a lot from your mom, from Taj, Cujo. I got a story to tell. That's another story. Again, that's like for another show. But again, shout out to everybody. And I'm in here. I'm out here doing work, making sure the family's right and keeping the name up right. You know what it is. All right.
All right, indeed. And
right.
just for everybody, just so everybody knows, also, my mother Roz Mariah, she will be doing a class in so-called Delaware, the House of Ram. So you could you could look that up on Facebook or whatnot to get the the information. If you just want to watch the live stream, if you can't make it, type of thing. If you utilize those tools, you can still watch it on a live stream.
Blessing. Yes. Blessings. All right. Peace.
Peace, Noble. Thank you for your support. We appreciate that.
Always.
All right. Be safe, Lord. One. All right. So again, family, big shout out to Cujo. He dropped off and at this point can't get back in. But all is well. We have one more caller, one more MOOR. Caller 704-241. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam?
Yeah, I'm with you. Islam. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clear.
All right, Islam. It's Brother RVBey, or Byron McCaskill Bay, Northwest of Maxim, out of the North Carolina, South Carolina territory, right in that area. Charlotte, Fatima, what you want to call it. And just want to give honor to Noble Drew Ali, allowing me to come into this knowledge, bringing it back here to the Northwest, because like you were saying, and I give honor to everybody's on the shows and all the shows of RVBey, anybody that's a conscious Moor, that's an active Moor, that's out here trying to give out this information, because I know it's difficult a lot of times because of the cloud that's been placed on people, over their eyes, the veil over their eyes and whatnot. And I just give you kudos for, going through and making things happen. One thing I was thinking about while when you was talking about the justice today, it's a lot that I gleaned from my knowledge and my studying, that like just because I'm a father, I have 7 children, and I look at my children and I see myself. You know what I'm saying? I see myself so much. When they acting up, I see myself in that. So the things that I'm doing, I catch myself. Oh, you yelling at them too much? Because I say, you yelling at your sister, you yelling at your brother. Dang, I can't look back at myself and see myself. You know what I'm saying? So, just in the whole scope of the justice thing is that like for me, my children are the blessings to me and my wife or my mate, whatever. We homeschool, and she's amazing. She spends most of the time with them. I do a lot of the history stuff and give them a lot of this other science that I'm getting. That's divergent to what they would get in a regular public school. And for me, it's like I'm learning from them because I got to be right because we got them out here homeschooling. So I got to be on top of my stuff to make sure I give them what they supposed to have, or else I'm just like them guys at the school. You know what I'm saying? With their education, I want to make sure they get educated correctly. Else I'm going to get that justice because they're going to keep coming back, and I'm going to see some stuff that I went through, that they're going through, that I should have prepared them for. So it's like, I'm trying to, I'm making sure that I am not leading them down a path of unrighteousness, is that word, or ignorance or sin, ignorance and sin, so that they can be able to, let their life manifest in the proper manners. You were saying about how nature and everything, we think the animals and all this stuff is, you don't come up to you and things like that. But one thing's about, like, I don't know what it is about my children, my wife, me, whatever, we'll be out, I get bees, they come and light on me. I ain't never thought about that. I don't get mosquito bites, some of my other family members might get them, they get them. But, and my son that's 8 now, I remember he was about 3. And he had bumblebees that would come up to him and light on his hand, and he hold them, and he kissed the bumblebee, and I was like, wow, and I'm learning from this, I mean, he came out, his first instincts was nature. He's fascinated by the bush, the tree, any bug, just fascinated. And so it's like I'm not trying, I hate to use that word, but I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I'm giving them what they need to have so that, I can, won't have the grapes of wrath come back on them. You know what I'm saying? Because like, we can talk to our family, and we must also always remember that our elders, but, it's some things that through our study, we know it's fact, and it's not true, and it's not a belief,
and you know, but they're not in that zone to where they can. Some of them ain't where they can accept that, you know, and so it's like you can give them all kind of pieces of paper and government documents and anything, you know, it's not, you know, that's not for them, you know, and I try my best, you know, to be very light when I'm, you know, dealing with my elders and whatnot. As much as I love them, you know, I try to give them a little at a time, but it's like the justice. I'm not trying to see justice for me not doing what I have been given the opportunity to, or to not give them everything that I got. Because I done dealt with a lot of folks, and you know, they had secrets and tried to get me in this group and that group for so long, and I never would do that. You know, it just, you know, just never was like my thing. It's like, it's a secret, yo. I don't want nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know, this was excellent for me, because ain't no secret, you know. But the thing about it is, though it's not a secret, a lot of people ain't trying to hear it. You know, it's like our people, and I can't get mad at nobody, because I know why they're not hearing it, because it's been programmed into them a different way. They live in a whole different illusion of life, you know, but still justice is going to come. Like you was talking about justice, it's coming anyway. You know, you're going to be held accountable for what you don't know. You know,
yeah,
so you know, you feel me. I don't want to take up too much time. You know, I just go from there.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes left, bro.
Okay, but yeah, I just want to yield the floor, and you know, I just you know, give on to Allah for you know, being able to put me here and be able to be in the light, you know, out of the dark. Islam.
Absolutely, Noble Islam. Thank you for your call in, and we'll be back Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. for any further questions, comments, and concerns. Every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. MHHS Eyes Wide Open Blog Talk Radio. I want to give a big acknowledgement to my co-host, Cujo. Pardon the breath and dropped off. Big acknowledgement on the E. Welcome back. I know I wasn't able to get on the line with you this week, but I definitely look forward to next week. But Mom, big acknowledgement to everything that is being done. And all the great Moors in the world that, you know, ever gave me the time of day. I appreciate y'all. I really do. And with that being said, like the brother said, they don't want to hear it, so I'm going to close this out with this, because the deaf won't hear and the blind won't see. And thank everybody for tuning in tonight. All right? Peace and love, y'all.
Yeah. Hands, Operation Rapper in position. We still here. Operation Rapper in position. All the gods and goddesses. Iron sheet, hip-hop lives, yo. The deaf won't hear and the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. NS indirectly, Boo Ali, one of the names of the prophets internationally. Drew said Moors proclaiming nationality, cause they're not Ethiopian or NBC. So he founded America's MST in 28. Me saying that it will cause debates. So I needed to clear up the mess, but most debate so they can big up their chest to prove what they know and what they can do. Recreating the wheel that was created by Drew. When you know the truth, many debate, but few humble themselves and suppress the jungle himself. Do them, I just do me, keeping my gold while they trade in their jewelry. Tied to Rick and nature base school me. You fool me in your dreams, dirty more think they could mule me truly. Who's the real Drew? Me and we. Esteem more their religion is my mental degree, and where everybody's supposed to be. If not, I guess that's not where you're supposed to be. Hopefully Drew Ali will be seen openly and realize NBC is something you can be. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. It seems unconscious Moors love the semblance of identity and having no remembrance of the Moorish past, no resemblance of the ancestral land inheritance. Love being the children, not the parents. To do any activity asking for clearance. Their minds like crystal, nothing but clearance. Everyone can progress in their land, the heirs can't. It's their status. Stop blaming racists who bleed just like you. If you shank their faces, you wore true hair in pyramid spaceships, and they use that as an emblem on their aprons. And can't be free if not Moorish Masons. Black or more Europeans are not Caucasians. Coming to the new world to civilize pagans. With boats and harbors from mosques on hills, we sending in agents. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali.
We transcend and ascend in this. It's a journey, just like the Moors traveling. Worlds upon worlds, the sound within. It gotta touch her as we excel. Past all the sort of truths and the lies they tell. To keep y'all from drinking at the well. Divine love, that's the fountain of youth. Sun deep it, this is the alchemist's secret. Restoring true unity, resurrecting our community. So every day you wake to fight. Though it's hard, express God. In every demonstration, I'm penetrating to the depths of the mind. A noble chief, well kept and refined. You're feeling it, bright like the stars, serious. This musician is the son of man. I look within, Drew Ali on the canvas of my soul to replenish the whole, replacing the old. It's critical, reaching to the pinnacle. Native and original MC that's relevant, and the style is intelligent, but I keep it interesting. Dropping true math in the cipher if you enter in. The law is the center, so study yourself and be renewed. That's elevation, restoration, through contemplation and meditation. Now the soul's navigating, manifesting all creation. The room of this mic, utilizing the light on the path. My body is an astro lab. I take the right actions, and my compass is compassion for internal alchemy.
The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. They hear the message in the words of Drew Ali.
Fall has arrived, and so have the latest trends at JCPenney. Starting Thursday, save 50% on your favorite styles of select apparel, accessories, and fine jewelry. Save on Exertion activewear, Arizona apparel for the family, and St. John's Bay apparel for him and her. No coupons needed for these savings.